bit more about who she was. Dr. Antoinette Elise Napier is a psychologist, author, and educator whose life's work centers on helping people heal, grow, and walk boldly in their God-given purpose. A devoted Seventh-day Adventist Christian since 1981, she has faithfully served her church in many capacities, including AY leader, education officer, family life director, Sabbath school superintendent, Sabbath school teacher, and master guide. Originally from Jamaica, Dr. Napier holds multiple degrees in business, counseling, and psychology, culminating in a PhD in psychology with a child and family emphasis from Andrews University. With more than 2 decades of experience in both education and ministry across the Caribbean and the United States, she blends academic excellence with deep spiritual insight. During her internship, she served in mental health in the Ohio Department of Rehabilitation and Correction, offering hope and healing to some of society's most underserved. She now works in a psychiatric hospital in Ohio, supporting individuals living with more serious mental illnesses. Dr. Napier is also the author of Healing from Broken Relationships, a transformative workshop inspired by her work with divorcees during her master's studies at Andrews University. The resource provides practical tools for emotional restoration and spiritual clarity. Through her leadership in family life ministries and her ongoing healing groups, she empowers individuals to rise from relational pain, rediscover their purpose, and embrace the future God has designed for them. Her mission is simple and powerful: to be a vessel of healing, helping others become the best version of themselves and fulfill their God-given assignment. So, this is who we have here to present to you this evening. And without further ado, we're going to ask her to open up her screen. And the floor is yours, Dr. Napier. Welcome again.
Thank you, Sister Donnelly. Welcome to all the women who are here to support the men. And I want to give an extra special welcome to the men who are here this evening. We are going to work together and learn together. Okay, so let me share my PowerPoint.
And your beautiful face.
I am sharing my face. You can't see it? My camera is open, Sister Princess.
I believe you, but I can't see you. Maybe I have to go clean my glasses or something.
Okay. Sister Donnelly, can you see me? You're muted. I didn't hear you.
Yes, I can see you.
Okay, great. All right. Okay, so this evening, we're looking at men's mental health. Last week, we looked at their physical health, and we learned a lot about testosterone. This week, we are breaking the silence, understanding and supporting men's health, mental health, why it matters, and how we can make a difference. All right, so if you have men who are supposed to be here and they are not here, I'm asking you please to send for them right now. We need them to be here. Let me just see how many men we have here right now. Khalik, Brother Dave, Caleb, well, I don't know who Galaxy is or the iPhones.
Sister Donnelly, can you unpin yourself? Because somebody has said in the chat they can't see Dr. Tony either.
Okay.
Kalik, can you please unpin me because I did not pin myself?
Sheldon and Tyrone. I don't know who Zoom user is or the watcher. Will. Okay. Welcome in. I will be serving, even if it's one man this evening. I am happy to serve you. So, what is mental health? Mary Morris raised her hand. Mary, you wanted to say something? Is your hand up because you want to say something, or is it a mistake?
Hi, sis. Good evening. No, just for the tech, the co-host. Sorry.
Oh, okay, okay. All right. All right. Mental health.
Hang on a second, Dr. Napier.
Mhm.
I think I am pinned. And because I am pinned, they can't see you. And I do not know how to unpin myself. I'm pretty sure I
Mouse
didn't do it.
over to your extreme right, and you see a drop down to where those three dots are beside your name.
Hi, colleague. Colleague, are you there?
The host should be able to unpin her.
Yeah, because I think he's the one who pinned me in the first place.
Mm.
Or if you slide over to the right where you can see all the participants, then you can see the presenter.
Oh, because it depends on the page she's on, right? My phone is like that too. Okay, can I go ahead? May I go ahead?
Yes, you can go ahead.
All right.
Donna.
Okay, so what is mental health? Mental health is a state of emotional, psychological, and social well-being that enables people to cope with life stresses, realize their abilities, learn and work well, and contribute to their community. It is more than the absence of illness. It is essential to overall health and quality of life at every stage from childhood to aging. Okay, so you see how important mental health is. It covers everything. Now I have a little warm up. A few questions that I'd like the men to participate. So I would like one man here to describe your current mental state or mood using a color. Example, you can say, I'm feeling yellow, which means bright and hopeful, or I'm a bit cloudy, or I'm gray. So use a color and tell us what the color means for you to describe how you're feeling right now.
I'll go first. I would say maybe blue. Blue meaning calm. I'm interested to listen to this presentation.
I'm so happy to have you here, Sheldon. Is there another man who wants to use a color to describe his mood today? Okay.
Hi, yes, no, this is Tyrone Joseph here.
Yeah.
The reason I took a little long to respond is I was just trying to read the presentation there to understand it a little better.
Okay.
So in all honesty, I see the first one's clear, gray, gray, a little bit cloudy gray right now.
Okay.
I see what's on your mind, your current
Wait, hold
headspace.
on 1 minute before you go to that one.
Okay.
So you said you're gray.
Yes.
You're
Yeah.
gray. Okay, gray. What does gray mean for you today?
Um. Gray, gray for me means a little gloomy. I guess
Okay.
that's a word I could put to it. Yeah.
All right, sure. Okay, so what's on your mind? Share your current headspace. You don't have to give us anything personal, just one thought that you have right now, just one thought.
Okay, that's good. One thought. I usually have a little trouble putting words to it. I've been getting better. Um, uh, One thought I guess would be some days are a lot harder than others. So especially if I'm not resting as I need to, some days are a little harder than others. I hope that that answers the question.
Yes, yes. Thank you so much, Tyrone. You can't be wrong, okay? All right. So now
Okay.
I'm going to ask all the men to send an emoji, whether you put it in the chat or you just send it up on the screen that represents your current mood. You can just send an emoji, like, you know how we can send it across the screen, or you can put it in the chat. I don't see anything as yet.
Somebody gave a thumbs up.
Okay, yes, and somebody gave a smile as well.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you so much. All right. Okay. A few more. Small joys. What is one small pleasure or joyful moment that has gotten you through this week? I want to hear from another man. What is one small pleasure or joyful moment that has gotten you through this week? Men, I want you to participate. Please work with me. Is there one thing that happened this week? Just one small joy, just one sentence. You don't have to give us a paragraph or anything like that. Just one small pleasure or joyful moment that has gotten you through this week. Or if you didn't have anything joyful happening this week, you can also say that.
I'll go. I was waiting for someone else to speak. You said another man. I guess she was someone else besides myself or Tyrone.
No, it could be any one of you as well. I appreciate whoever participates. So go ahead, Sheldon. Thank
Uh,
you.
I would say getting some good rest last night because this week has been um pretty tough for me. So last night I purposed myself to go to bed early so I can get some rest, and I woke up early and was able to spend some good time in devotion and everything. So the day has been a blessing. So one small pleasure for this week, getting some good rest last night.
Thank you so much. All right. Anybody else?
Well, since I know I could be a part of the anyone else as well.
Okay, Tyrone.
I
Go
would,
ahead.
I would say even though the event wasn't so happy or so yeah so it wasn't a happy event because it was my aunt's funeral. I would say that a pleasure or a joyful moment was being able to play a song for the funeral that I was told was very uplifting to the congregation. So the event wasn't the happiest, but being able to bring some joy to the event was a joyful moment for me.
Thank you so much for sharing that. That's wonderful. Okay. Self-care share. Share one small step you have taken recently to prioritize your mental well-being. One small step.
All right, so I'm just gonna jump on again. um, I, uh, I created a booklet. Sheldon's a good friend of mine, so I told him about it. I created a booklet that takes in mental health in different facets, whether it's writing letters to myself or encouragements to myself, songs that I want to remember. I was super intentional about that, so I could focus on nothing else but reading over that and meditating on it. So that was something powerful for me.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing that. Okay, so we see that some men are interested in mental health care. Gratitude circle. What is one thing you're grateful for today, no matter how big or small it is? And anyone can answer.
Grateful for my wife.
Oh, thank you so much, Brother Ian. All right. Anybody else have anything else to be grateful for? Okay, I'm going to move on to the last
I was gonna say something.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm grateful for not just that another presentation on men's mental health is being done.
Mhm.
It's being done by a woman. I don't think I've ever heard a mental health presentation done by a woman thus far. Not that it hasn't been done, but I've just never heard it.
Oh,
Gaining another perspective outside of a man himself is, I think, it's going to be extremely rewarding. So I'm grateful for that.
thank you, Sheldon. Thank you. Okay, the last two icebreakers I have. I want you to look outside your window and share something that you're seeing outside of your window right now and tell us what you love about what you see.
Lots of green grass.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful. That must be restful to your eyes, Brother Ian. Thank you so much for sharing.
Indeed.
All right. I am sure everybody should be able to tell me what song always boosts your mood. Every man here should be able to tell me that. One song that does encourage them, lift up your spirit.
My Lord and I.
I
The
love
the
it.
hymn My Lord and I. It reminds me in every stanza that I'm not alone.
Wonderful. Yeah, I love that song as well. Anybody else? Okay, thank you so much for participating in the icebreakers. Now, men, I want you to have your pen and your paper because if we're looking at mental health, then we need to actually see if there's anything at all to work on, right? So I want all the men here today to know what your adverse childhood experience is. And this is an updated one. There are two extra questions on this one. So I have like 13 questions for you. Now, one thing I want you to know is that some of the questions are a little bit packed. So if there is one thing in there that is true, then you have to note it as true, okay? You might not be answering to every single thing in there. So here are some instructions. I want you to be super honest. If you're not alone, make sure no one can see your responses. This is just for you. This is just about you and your experience only. Answer with the truth and do not lie to yourself, or you cannot help yourself. Okay, you're going to answer with the truth. Remember, you're the only one. You and God are the only one who are going to know about your response. No one needs to know your results but you. So to benefit from this exercise, you cannot hide the truth. All right. So I know sometimes it's hard for us to be honest to ourselves. We're looking at childhood adverse experiences. Please know that you're not finding fault with your parents. This is not about them. Parents are wonderful people, some parents at least, and they would have done their best for us, but they are imperfect people. So sometimes things happen that cause us to have adverse experiences. But so we are just going to look at what is honest because we are now responsible adults and have to take care of ourselves. Okay. So men, I want you to have your paper and your pen. And the rating is that every yes, you're going to put 1, just the number 1. And for every no, you're going to put 0, except for number 11. When you get to number 11, if the answer is no, you put 1. That's the only one that's going to need a 1 for no, otherwise no is 0. All right. I'm going to start. Does
Can the
anyone have
women
any
take this
questions?
test too, or it's
Of
just the
course.
men?
Oh, yes, the women can too. It's just that I'm focusing on the men, but the women can certainly take this as well.
Oh, okay.
All right. Okay. Number 1. Did a parent or other adult in the household often or very often swear at you, insult you, put you down, or humiliate you? Or B, act in a way that made you afraid that you might be physically hurt? 1 for yes, 0 for no. And remember to be honest. Number 2, did a parent or other adult in the household often or very often push, grab, slap, or throw something at you? Or B, ever hit you so hard that you had marks or were injured? 1 for yes, 0 for no. Number 3, did an adult or person at least 5 years older than you ever touch or fondle you or have you touch their body in a sexual way or attempt or actually have oral, anal, or vaginal intercourse with you? 1 for yes, 0 for no. And remember I said they are packed. So if one thing in there is true, you have to put 1 for yes. Okay, I'm moving on. Number 4, did you often or very often feel that no one in your family loved you or thought you were important or special? Or B, your family didn't look out for each other, feel close to each other, or support each other? I have to remind you, you're the only one seeing this, so be as honest as possible. Number 5, did you often or very often feel that you didn't have enough to eat, had to wear dirty clothes, and had no one to protect you? Or B, your parents were too drunk or high to take care of you or take you to the doctor if you needed it? Number 6, were your parents ever separated or divorced? 1 for yes, 0 for no. Number 7, was your parent, caregiver, often or very often pushed, grabbed, slapped, or had something thrown at him or her? Now you're thinking about your parent or your caregiver. This is not about you, okay? So keep that in mind. So let me read this again. Was your parent or caregiver often or very often pushed, grabbed, slapped, or had something thrown at him or her? Or B, sometimes, often, or very often kicked, bitten, hit with a fist, or hit with something hard? Or C, ever repeatedly hit over at least a few minutes or threatened with a gun or knife? So hit over at least a few minutes, you saw the person getting beaten for a while. It didn't just one hit and stop, but it happened like it kept happening. It was happening for a while. Okay. 1 for yes, 0 for no. Number 8, did you live with anyone who was a problem drinker or alcoholic or who used street drugs? 1 for yes, 0 for no. Number 9, was a household member depressed or mentally ill, or did a household member attempt suicide? 1 for yes, 0 for no. Did a household member go to prison? One for yes, 0 for no. Number 11, did your parents, guardians, or guardians understand your problems and worries? Or did your parents or guardians really know what you were doing with your free time when you were not at school or work? Note, for this question, it's the no answer which scores a 1. So if this is a no, you put 1. If it is a yes, you put 0. Number 12, did you see or hear someone being beaten up in real life? Or did you see or hear someone being stabbed or shot in real life? Or did you see or hear someone being threatened with a knife or gun in real life?
Yeah.
1 for yes, 0 for no. And number 30. Somebody's mic is open. Price, I see.
This one would refer to somebody not necessarily in your household, right?
Right. So it could be in your household as well as outside of your household. It's just whether or not you ever witnessed this. If you have witnessed it. Were you forced, number 13, were you forced to go and live in another place due to any of these events? Or did you experience the deliberate destruction of your home due to any of these events? Or were you beaten up by soldiers, police, militia, or gangs? Or was a family member or friend killed or beaten up by soldiers, police, militia, or gangs? One for yes, 0 for no. Okay, does anybody need me to repeat any of these 13 questions? Any one of them you did not get?
Yeah, can you repeat number 6?
Number 6, okay. Were your parents ever separated or divorced?
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Either,
Oh, sorry, yes?
either
just a-
number 10 or 11, and I can't, so maybe you can just start off number 10 again. I think I have a question about either 10 or 11.
Okay. Number 10 is, did a household member go to prison?
No, it's the other one. Then let's try
Okay,
12.
number 11. It's not
Okay.
number 11?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not the one you just read. Move
Okay,
go
right.
forward. Mhm.
Number 11. Did your parents or guardians understand your problems and worries? Or did your parents or guardians really know what you were doing with your free time when you were not at school or work? And for this one, it's saying that if your answer is no for this, then you put 1. This is the only one that if you say no, it has 1. And if it is yes, you put 0. All right.
Okay.
Is that the one you needed?
Um,
All right, let me go to number 12. Number 12 said, did you see or hear someone being beaten up in real life? Or did you see or hear someone being stabbed or shot in real life? Or did you see or hear someone being threatened with a knife or gun in real life?
yes, thank you.
Okay, all right. Okay. So anybody else?
Mrs., will these slides be posted in the chat afterwards?
Usually it is Sister Donnelly, you want to answer that for her?
The presentation will be on YouTube. So you'll be able to go back and rewind as needed.
Great, thank you.
Yes. Okay. All right, good. Yes, all right. Okay. So I'm just checking again before I move on. Did any new man join us? Oh, yes. Here is Pastor Daniel Major. Welcome, Daniel. I think you probably missed the childhood adverse experiences test assessment that I just gave, but that's okay. The video will be on YouTube, so you can always go on there. Is there anybody else here who came after? I welcomed all the men before.
Who asked for me?
Pardon? Oh, Pastor Daniel,
Hello?
I was just welcoming you, Pastor. That's what
Oh,
I was doing.
having a problem with the volume. Let me make some
Oh.
adjustment. I
All
can't
right.
hear anything now.
Okay, sorry about that. All right. Okay, so anyone else who came after, welcome to all the men, and thank you, women, for coming to support them. All right, now let us look at interpreting the ACEs score. You get 1 point for each type of trauma. The higher your ACE score, the higher your risk of disease, social and emotional problems as an adult. So you need to add up all the ones that you have and see how many you get. If the ACE score is 1 to 3 with ACE-associated health conditions, the patient is at intermediate risk. And I will show you what are associated health conditions for ACEs. We'll look at them after this. So if you have any of those conditions right now, you're at intermediate risk if you have a score from 1 to 3. If the ACE score is 4 or higher, even without ACE-associated health conditions, you are at high risk for toxic stress physiology. But that's why we are here, because we want to eliminate the risk and minimize it. So don't get too anxious from hearing this, okay? So this is a mechanism by which adverse childhood experiences influence health and well-being throughout the lifespan. So as a child, you experience adverse childhood experiences, right down here, okay? And then they disrupt neurodevelopment. So the way that our brain is developing, they will disrupt that. Then there is social, emotional, and cognitive impairment. We have a lot of problems, socially, emotionally, the way we think. And then, so we adopt health risk behaviors. Now, let me just run, before I finish the other two at the top, I'm going to just run to the other slide to show you what these health risk behaviors are. All right? So adverse childhood experiences cause us to not exercise. It causes smoking. Some people become alcoholics. Some people use drugs. Some people will miss work. Okay, those are the kind of behaviors that come from it. Physical and mental health. It results in severe obesity, diabetes, depression, suicide attempts, STDs, heart disease, cancer, stroke, COPD, and broken bones. Okay, so these are some of the health risk behaviors and the disease and disability and social problems that result as a result of adverse childhood experiences if we don't take care of our mental health. And then it leads to early death. And last week, we did establish that men seem to always die before women. Of course, it is, we have some men that live very long, but so often wives are left alone because their male spouse has died, okay? So let us move on to see how we deal with this. So let's look at some of the things that adverse childhood experiences not taken care of has caused men to do. Ouch. Hold on 1 minute. Let me stop sharing for a minute. I need to get this working properly. Ouch. All right, I have to fix this. Just 1 minute, please. I'm so sorry about that. All right. Okay. Sorry. All right, I'm going to have to share this in a different way. All right, let me do this.
All right, while Dr. Antoinette is trying to get her screen up, has
Mhm.
this been illuminating in any way, shape, or form to you guys? If it's yes, put Y in the chat. If not,
If you live anywhere here in the
Okay.
red circled area and
Sorry
you have
about
an
this.
old,
I was
struggling
trying
air
to get it
conditioning
without the
or heating system,
advertisement,
This
but it
morning, the
didn't.
Coral Springs community is mourning the sudden loss of Vice Mayor Napier Bowen. Police found her dead inside of her home, and now her husband is in custody.
There are no words that can truly capture the depth of this loss or the pain this organization and community are now dealing with.
Yeah, this really is just awful. Detectives say the 38-year-old's death was a result of a domestic incident. CBS News Miami, Steve Majeri is your reporter joining us live from Fort Lauderdale. He's at the jail where Stephen Bowen is being held this morning. And Steve, the vice mayor's family released a statement. What are they saying?
Well, they are remembering her as a leader and an advocate, and her family is asking for privacy at this time here. Now, the way police found out about this is that they had to do a welfare check at the home of Vice Mayor Nancy Napier Bowen, and police found her dead inside of her home. And now, as we've said, her husband has now been charged with her killing here. And so this is the mug of the vice mayor's husband, Stephen Bowen. He has been charged with premeditated murder and tampering with fabricated evidence. He's been booked into the main Broward jail here in Fort Lauderdale. Now, Chopper 4 was above as police worked out of a command center on the Commissioner's Street. The chief of police did not describe Vice Mayor Napier Bowen's injuries, but said there are no other suspects at this time. Employees at City Hall leaned on each other, just stunned by this turn of events. Napier Bowen was the first Black and Haitian American woman elected to the City Commission. She was an environmental scientist by trade and was known for her environmental justice efforts.
You know, it just lost the only woman on our commission, man. You know, as much as we can try to fill that void, we can't.
And Napier Bowen's sister posted this statement about the vice mayor. It reads in part, "Throughout her years in public office, she led with integrity, compassion, and an unwavering sense of purpose. She believed in bringing people together, listening to those she served, and working tirelessly to create positive change in her community. To us, she was a source of strength, wisdom, and love, someone who always put others before herself." Now, the city of Coral Springs has put up a web page where it will post updates on this case here. And one other thing worth noting is that Democratic Congressman Jared Moskowitz said that Napier Bowen was just about to announce a run for Congress. Live in Fort Lauderdale.
Here, CBS News Miami.
Okay. So all right, I'll go back to sharing my slides, but I wanted to share that. 1 minute, let me fix this back. I don't think this one is going to play either, so I'll just tell you about it myself. I am just sharing to show that sometimes when our mental health is not taken care of. So when it comes to men, this man was a Christian. He was a Christian, he was a mentor for other Christian men. And he broke because he went to his uncle and told his uncle that he had killed his wife. And when the uncle asked him why he said he just could not take it anymore. So there is no doubt that he was the one that killed her because he confessed to it. And simply because he was not taking care of whatever it is that was ailing him. This one right here is about a gentleman, a young man who killed his eight children. 7 of them belonged to him. The day before, he put up a post saying that, asking God to not let him give in to evil. And the next day, he killed his family because his wife was divorcing him. And these are things that could have been taken care of if both these men had decided to get some help. Hold on, I'm not sure I can move on. I need to move on. Hold on, stop sharing. Sorry, I have to stop sharing again in order to get the correct thing to come up.
I have a quick question while you work on that.
Yes, go ahead.
With regards to the scoring, was there only one of two scores, whether you have 1 to 3 ones and you are at moderate risk and above 3 you are at high risk? Was that the extent of the scoring?
Yes, 1 to, yes, because if you have 4 or more, that is seen as high risk. So, okay, good. No problem. All right, let me share this now again. All right. So, how do men defeat their adverse childhood experiences? Because a lot of times men think that nothing is wrong, everything is okay. But I'm sure that when you look at your scores, you can see that you do need to take care of your mental health. Because no matter how wonderful our parents were, there is not one of us that is without ACEs. And ACEs is just short for adverse childhood experiences. We have all experienced ACEs, and so we all need to take care of our mental health. You know, very often we look at okay, never mind. Does the Bible support mental health? Does the Bible support mental health? Okay, I was going to say very often we make sure that our physical is taken care of. We go to the doctor, we make our appointments and we go to the doctor. Last week, we emphasize yearly physicals and how important they are. But hardly any men, hardly, there are some, well, it depends on the culture. Okay, so let me not say hardly. But many men do not go to a counselor or a psychologist. They don't make appointments. They don't make sure that they get that kind of checkup as well. But it is actually important because I know you may look at those 2 men and say, oh, that could never happen to me. I am sure that those 2 men were not planning for it to happen to them either. They were Christian men. Well, one I know for sure was a Christian man. The other one talk about God. I don't know if he was a dedicated Christian, but I know that the lady's husband was somebody who was in a Christian organization and guiding men. Okay. And it has happened to many. So don't say it can't happen to you if you're not taking care of your mental health. So let's see what God says about the comfort, the mental health. See if the Bible promotes mental health. Comfort for anxiety and fear. These are some texts that I found that are comforting. So I would like some men to read for me. I want one man to read all the texts on here. Who is going to volunteer? 1 Peter 5, verse 7. I don't have a volunteer.
I'll read.
Sure. Go ahead.
First
Go ahead,
Peter,
brother.
Thank you. 1 Peter 5:7. Cast all your anxieties upon him because he cares for you.
Amen.
You said all of them or
Yes,
just
yes,
one
go
of them?
ahead. Read all of them.
Oh, okay. Philippians chapter 4, verse 6 to 7 encourages men praying about all situations to receive peace that passes understanding. Isaiah 41:10. So do not fear, men, for I am with you. Do not be dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you and help you. 2 Timothy chapter 1 and verse 7. For God did not give men the spirit of fear, but of power, of love, and of sound mind. And John 14:27, my peace I give you, promising peace during tumultuous times.
Thank you, Brother Will. Thanks so much. Okay, so you
You're welcome.
see, often men have been given a great responsibility by God and by society. You are leaders, you are protectors, you are supposed to be in charge, you're supposed to be strong. So God is saying, you can lean on me because as much as you are strong, as much as you are supposed to be the protector and to do all the things so that your family, like you're the house band when you become a husband, you surround your children and your wife, okay? But God is saying, I am omnipotent. You can lean on me, right? God wants you to lean on him. He wants you to know that it is okay if you have anxiety. He says, cast it on him, right? God has created psychologists. He's the master psychologist, but he has created psychologists, he has created counselors so that you can also get help otherwise, right? You pray to him, you talk to him, and you also need to talk to somebody else. And I want to make an appeal to the women. Women, be the kind of woman that a man, when he wants somebody to lean on, he could tell you his deepest, darkest secret. He could expose his weakness. And you are there to stand with him and to support him and never throw it back in his face when you're upset with him. He does not need that. He needs somebody where, as Sister White says, her heart becomes the grave for his faults. So you never throw back his faults at him. Even if you're upset with him, it's best to put some water in your mouth and walk away until you're calm. But if you want a man to be able to trust you, then you have to prove yourself trustworthy under all circumstances. So men, I want you to also help the women to be that kind of person for you. Let them know that that is what you need. I worked with men 3 years, only men, and I discovered that men are as emotional as women. They have emotions, they just don't use it in public. And they need to be able to use it so that we don't get some of the results that we just saw a while ago. Okay? So another man is going to read this for me. Comfort for depression and despair.
Psalms
I'll be glad
34,
to.
verse 18. The Lord is close to men, the brokenhearted, and saves those men who are crushed in spirit. Matthew 11:28. Come to me, all who labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. Psalms 40, verse 1 and 2 describes God lifting individuals, men, out of a pit of destruction and miry bog. Psalms 30, verse 5, men weeping may tarry for a night, but joy comes in the morning. Psalms 23, verse 4, provides comfort for men walking through the dark valley or valley of the shadow of death.
So there you see, there is comfort when you feel depressed, when you feel despair. God has made his promises. Do not be afraid to use your emotions. Emotions were made to protect us. And if you stuff them and not let them out so that they can protect you, then you can go crazy. You can stay depressed and become clinically depressed. You can be tempted to commit suicide, and some men have committed suicide. Do not allow yourself to be stopped from experiencing your emotions by the devil. And men, you need also to be there for each other. Don't tease a man, don't tease a boy. Teach them to cry, teach them to weep, teach them to feel Emotions are supposed to protect us. And our women have been protected, but our men have not been protected because they have been told that you're a man, you're a boy, you can't do this, you can't cry. Okay, strength and mental restoration. One man, read all of this for me, please. Come on. Brother Tyrone, are you still there? I know you were going to read before, and then Brother Ian had started before you, so you want to read this?
Yes, yes. I'm sorry.
Go
I
ahead.
just got kicked out, but I'll be glad to read these verses.
Okay, sure.
Right. So Romans 12:2 mentions the renewing of the minds of men. Proverbs 3 verses 5 and 6 encourages trusting in the Lord rather than relying solely on one's own understanding. 2 Corinthians 12:9, my grace is sufficient for you, men, for my power is made perfect in weakness. Joshua 1:9, a command to be strong and courageous, anchored in the promise that God is always present in the lives of men.
Thank you so much. So you can see, right? God wants to renew your mind. He knows you're independent men because you always believe you have to be strong. But strength is also in weakness. If you really want to be a strong man, don't be afraid to feel and express your weakness, because that is how you're going to overcome the things that we stuff and hide away from and ignore. They become monsters in our life. They grow and become big, and they control our subconscious, and we do not know that we are being controlled by them. So men, to be strong means that you have to have the courage to be weak. Now, here is our emotion chart. We're looking at what it looks like to be angry, anxious, sad, confident, happy, and content. Sometimes when you are feeling these things, men sometimes do not know how to express them. In the interest of time, I'm going to go through them, and I want you to pay attention because there is a saying in the mental health circle that when you ask men about their feelings, they tell you what they think, not actually, they don't give you a feeling. So on the angry, you see irritated, frustrated, aggressive, mad, resentful, critical, hostile, hurt, offended, furious, bitter, annoyed. On the anxious, scared, worried, fearful, afraid, infurious, stressed, weak, shocked, shame, insecure, rejected, uneasy. On the sad, you have gloomy, helpless, empty, grief, loss, hurt, miserable, hopeless, lonely, drained, bored, tired. This is actually teaching you how to describe what you feel. On the confidence, I don't even have to read that because I know you know those already. When you're confident, when you're happy, when you're content, you know how to express that. You're not afraid to, you know exactly what is going on when you feel contented, when you feel happy, and when you feel confident. All right, so the silent crisis, facts and stats. Nearly 1 in 10 men experience depression or anxiety, but fewer than half receive treatment. Men are 4 times more likely to die by suicide than women. Suicide is a leading cause of death for men under 55. Over 6 million men suffer from depression annually. Why do men struggle to speak up? Societal conditioning. Tough it out, man up, or boys don't cry mentality. That is the mentality that fathers and mothers will have, and they pass it on to their boys. The stigma, showing emotion is often perceived as a weakness. It is not. It is actually a strength. And that's why a lot of times women are able to go through some terrible things and come out on it better on the other side. So we don't want to be leaving you behind, men. We need you also to realize the strength in weakness. Provider role, pressure to be the protector provider prevents admitting vulnerability. That's such a problem for men to admit vulnerability. It is important for you to be vulnerable so that you can preserve your health. Distraction turn into unhealthy coping mechanisms such as substance use, overworking, anger. Maybe as Christians, you will more overwork and get angry rather than use substance, but some people still do use substance. Yes, Brother Ian.
So I'm hearing what you're saying, but let's say, for example, I teach my son the things that you're encouraging. Now, he goes to school, for example, and he shows, he puts into practice these things, but he's the only one who's now thinking that way. So he goes to school and he puts these things into practice, and he, shows his emotion, or he cries, etc., etc. And then he gets heckled. Now what?
Now, because you see, when you teach him that weakness is strength when it comes to his emotions, then you also have to teach him not to care about what others say, because he's the one that's going to suffer when he stuffs his emotion. It is not easy. I'm not saying anything is easy, but that is the reason why it is strength, you see, because you have to teach your child that the world, they have a back way kind of thinking. Weakness is strength. What they see as strength is really weakness, and what they see as weakness is really strength. So it is strength to fight and to hit back and to not let anybody disrespect you. But you also end up in prison as a result. You also get a bad record as a result of that. So, what do you prefer? If Jesus was a weak man, do you see what I'm talking about? Then that would be sad. But Jesus took it. He took the box, he took the spitting in his face, he took it all, and he stood for us. And he was better for it, as much as he was not respected by the people who treated him like that. But we who serve God knows what true strength is. And Jesus was strong. You know why? Because he didn't react. He didn't allow people to control him. When something goes wrong and somebody teases you and you react, that is weakness. When you can ignore them and realize that they're the one with the problem and not you, that is strength. And so we need to teach our children what is really strength. And whether you want to believe it or not, if you teach your son that and he's able to stand like that, there will be others who will be glad to follow him, because a lot of boys and men are just waiting for somebody to give them permission to feel. Okay, so just teach him what true weakness is and teach him what true strength is. Men may not always show sadness. Look for increased anger, irritability, or aggressiveness. So and I'm talking both men and women. This is what you should look for in men who will not show sadness. Withdrawal from family, friends, and social activities. Risky behavior or substance use. Unexpected physical symptoms like headaches, digestive issues, or chronic fatigue. So these are things that our emotions turn on us when we do not use them, when we don't allow ourselves to feel. They turn on us and they will destroy our bodies. All right. So, how to support and take action? Normalize the conversation, ask, listen, and check in regularly without judgment, because this is one of the problems. Too much judgment. We are to need to stop judging. Don't judge a man because he wants to feel. Ask, listen, check in regularly without judgment. Reframe strength. Highlight that seeking help is a sign of courage. Push it. Let your children understand that your boys understand. Seeking help is a sign of courage. You don't want to find that your child, your boys or your men commit suicide because they were afraid to seek help. Encourage professional help. Suggest therapy or counseling, as this is one of the most effective ways to manage mental health. When I was an intern, this lady took her her 6-year-old and 7-year-old sons to therapy because she said their father had left and she needed help for them to grow up healthy. And so she took them to therapy as young as they were. Actionable steps: promote healthy lifestyle changes, exercise, sleep, and social connection. So I made this acronym for men's health. M, make time for check-ins with self and others. E, express emotions openly. N, nourish physical health, diet and sleep. S, seek support when needed. Mental. M, move your body daily, very important. E, engage in meaningful hobbies. N, normalize asking for help. Normalize it. If anybody tease you, just ignore them. You want to be healthy and you want to live long in a healthy body, so normalize asking for help. Let it be your thing. Don't be afraid to ask for help. T, talk about your struggles. Don't be afraid to talk about your struggles. Women talk about their struggles all the time. That's why it's so easy for them to continue on in life, even after they have no help and they are left with the children. You see how they fight and they raise those children the best that they can when they don't have any help. So men, I want you now to be the same. Stop letting the women go ahead of you when it comes to expressing your emotions, talking about your struggles, normalizing, asking for help. A, acknowledge warning signs. Recognize when something is wrong with you. Recognize when you are not focusing, when you don't feel okay, when you're tempted to do things that as a child of God you would not want to do, but you feel tempted. Recognize it and get the help that you need. L, limit unhealthy coping mechanisms like alcohol, substances, or overworking, or whatever else you do to hide away from your emotions. Health. H, help others, build community. That works so well when you find things to do to help others and to build your community. E, educate yourself on mental health. And thank you for being here because you saw that it was men's mental health and you came. So you are interested in yourself and other men and boys. So thank you. A, aim for work-life balance. L, live in the present moment. Aim for work-life balance, Work on yourself more than you work on your job. I heard that recently. It's like a person who work harder on their job will make a living, but somebody who works hard on themselves will make a fortune. So do try to have the balance. L, live in the present moment. T, take breaks and rest. H, honor your journey. So living in the present moment is very important. Taking breaks, one of the ways that you defeat ACEs is by taking an hour out of every single day. Let that just be your time to de-stress. Do not allow anybody to interfere with you or take away that time from you. Cut yourself off 1 hour. Just relax. Do not tell yourself that you're too busy or there's too much work to do. You want to be able to be healthy and be able to do this work. Take time out to relax and de-stress every single day. That is how you help to prevent all those ACEs disease. Men's mental health is a critical issue that when ignored leads to devastating consequences. We must create a culture where vulnerability is not seen as weakness. So, check in on the men in your life, and that's for both men and women. Your conversation could save a life. All right.
Thank you so much, Dr. Napier. That was very, very illuminating. Very, 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 very informative. I didn't realize how deeply ACEs can affect us.
Yep.
Like growing up. and how it carries over and can even lead to, this was the interesting part to me, it could even lead to early death because of our experiences. And it answered a lot of questions in my mind sometimes about people whom I have seen, my classmates and stuff, and neighbors who have died early. And I know their stories. So that was, I was able to put it together, so to speak. So, and it was also interesting to see how sometimes we don't support the men in our lives as much as we could have, bearing in mind some of the things that they might have gone through and knowing that we have our own aces, you know. So it teaches us that we have to be fair,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah. There was no,
Because
honestly,
everybody has their,
I didn't know I had aces because my parents are so wonderful. I had no idea I had aces until I took this test and I said, okay then.
I,
We'll
I
go
guess we're I guess we're all damaged in some way, some more
Oh,
than others. Some are up to a 3, okay, fine, good for you. But
yeah.
then there are some of us who are 5s and 6s and 8s and some 13s, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So this was very, very illuminating. We're going to open up for questions right now. If anyone has questions, you could raise your hand or write your question in the chat. Somebody says, can you show that first slide on the MEN acronym?
Oh, the MEN acronym? Okay. All right. I'll go back to sharing. There it is. Okay, sister, I think you can go ahead and take questions.
Thank you.
All right, you're welcome.
Okay, I see a hand up. Princess Verona, you can
Yes, ma'am.
yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So one of my comments in the chat is talking about having good plan. And by that I mean, let's say you are watching your TV or you saw something and the woman was not being respectful of her husband. As a man, I'm talking. And you see where the man was embarrassed, he just held down his head. And you, as the onlooker, say, if it were me, I'd have shut her a box. That is an evil plan. And believe you me, brethren, whatever you plan like that privately, you automatically do it. So I'm encouraging us, men and women, when you see a story that really impacts you, that you have a good plan and probably immediately start praying for the people involved, even if you don't know them. Because as I said, whatever we plan, we do it, and after we have finished doing it, then we realize that our hands had moved. So that's what I wanted to. So is that true, Sister Princess Antoinette?
Sister Princess,
Yes, ma'am.
can you please repeat the first part of it where you said, is it a man being influenced by somebody else?
Yeah, it's because we're talking about men. So let's say he's in the supermarket and he see this couple and the woman behaving like she's the best thing, the best woman about here. And she's being disrespectful of her husband or whoever the male is. And as another male onlooker, you said to yourself, if it was me, then just give her a box or push the cart on her and something like that.
Oh, okay.
And then because when you face a situation, you're going to do what you had planned in your mind automatically. So I'm saying it's better to plan something good. So you don't end up with any police, manhandling you, and the next thing you're in jail.
Yes. Yes, you're right. And unfortunately, if he thinks like that, he's already like that. So it's because people think like based on who they are. So it's like if a man thinks that, then it probably is something that he has done before. or that he does to his wife or his girlfriend or whoever woman he has in his life. So one of the things I like to say from that is like a lot of times a man will have a beautiful relationship and he's treating his woman really, really good. And another person who has problems will see that and start to make fun of him for being that kind of person, for being so nice to his family, for being so good to a woman. And sometimes it changes the man. If that man is not a strong man, it changes him to become the kind of person like his friend is. And so, one of the things that I would like to say to men is don't be influenced by negative people. If you are being the kind of man that God wants you to be, when you have problems with your wife, go to counseling, ask for help, know who you're asking for help from as well. But do something to work on your life and not allow other men to take from you what you have going good. All right. Yes, Brother Tyrone, there is a question that I saw come up just before your hand. So let me read it and then I'll take you. How can you encourage a man to talk about his feelings who likes to suppress them? My husband completely shuts down and doesn't talk if we are addressing a serious concern. What are some practical ways I can encourage him to speak? Any suggestions? Okay, so the way that if you try to get a man to talk, it's very likely you won't get him to talk, to be very honest. And I don't know about your marriage, but if he doesn't trust you already, then probably trust is something that you have to work on because things might have happened that caused him to shut down. And so that is something that would need to be taken care of as well. And yeah, that's a good question, Sister Princess, if he was talking before. The thing is, though, I think instead of trying to get him to talk, you should talk to him about how you feel, and in your talking, do not attack him. Tell him how you feel. Talk about your feelings, but do not say it in a way that you are blaming him. Just express to him how you feel as a result of whatever it is you need to talk about, and then leave it there. Because if he really cares about you, when you are vulnerable with him and expose yourself to him, then eventually, and while you pray about it, eventually he may start to talk to you. But one way or the other is that if a man doesn't trust you with his feelings, he won't share with you. But if you are somebody that he can trust, he will share. So maybe whatever happens, you have to show him that he can trust you. Yes, I message you, Sister Princess. Brother Tyrone?
Yes. So my question. So I am a husband as well as a father of two, one 2-year-old, and the next is 7 months. And the reason I brought that up is, in the daily duties and our responsibilities, it could be easy to get distracted. On my own personal journey of improving my mental health, and just get caught up with, whether it is our self-employed business or just being with the children and the duties and needs throughout the day. So my question is, how can one like myself not only embark on this journey, which I have, but also stay encouraged? When you are now in this part of life and you discover all of these different things of you that you need to work on, it could get very discouraging as you have other responsibilities to tend to while you're also trying to improve your mental health. So, how can one like myself embark on this journey and stay on this journey? Like, what are some simple starting places that one like myself can begin and then be consistent with to improve? Because you shared some videos where two individuals, responded to, whether it's the wife as the mayor or the 7 children, whatever it may be. So these are real situations where men were overwhelmed in their family dynamics. So how can one start on this journey? Simple ways to start, and be consistent without being overwhelmed with the daily responsibilities of marriage and parenting.
Thank you so much for your question, Brother Tyrone, and your willingness to work on yourself and to make sure that your family life goes well. I admire that. So the first thing that I will suggest is, apart from family worship, carve out a time when you spend with God all by yourself, you and God alone. And that time when you spend with Him, don't just read the Bible and superficially pray or read a devotional. Communicate with God, connect with Him, pour out to Him everything that is in you, all of the things that you can't say to your wife right now, that you would never say to anybody else. One of the things that is challenging is for sometimes a man to even admit his feelings. And what I'm saying to you is that do the hard thing and find words to describe to God what you go through, how you feel, what you want help with. And journal, write letters to God, write letters to yourself based on some of the things that you're going through. Take time out to understand yourself. Spend a little time going through your childhood. Learn who you are, how you were made up by what happened in your household. The father that you had as an example, or maybe not, the men that you had as example. Think about who you want to be as an individual and write it down, who you want to be. Present it to God. I have a workbook that I use to run Healing from Broken Relationships that you can get on Amazon. It is something that leads you to self-knowledge. If you're interested, it's called Healing from Broken Relationships Workbook. And it is something that will guide you from childhood straight up to what your dreams are now and what you want to do. Another thing I would say is create a relationship with your wife. Talk to her to help her to understand who you are as a man. A lot of times, husband and wife speak to each other without actually saying what they really want to say. They speak around the issue. So, for example, when I was in school, my professor gave us an example. He said, this lady said to her husband, "Don't go to work today, stay home." And he got upset because he's like, I have to pay all the bills. I have to take care of this family. Why would you tell me not to go to work? But what she wanted to say was, I would like to spend some time with you. And had she said that, then he probably would have said, okay, let us plan so we can have some time, but I can't stay home from work today. You see, the thing is that the way that he interpreted what she said was a negative way, and it caused an argument between them. But had she said, darling, I really want to spend some time with you. When can we spend some time together? It would have been taken in a different way. A lot of times, and the thing too is that he did not ask her, what do you mean by that? So that she could explain. We speak around our feelings, we speak around what we really want, and it caused a lot of problems in the household. Another thing to Brother Tyrone that is very important is learn your wife's story. What is her story? What is her story, her life story? Do you know enough about her that when you hear her say something, when you see her do some things, that you understand the reason why she said it and why she did it? It is very important. If you know each other's story, some things that you probably argue about, you would never argue about. Sorry, the lighting in here is bad. Okay. So, yes, and just in getting self-knowledge, that can help you to have a better relationship in your marriage and with yourself. Learning to value yourself. And just the final thing that I would suggest, there's much more. These are just, but in the interest of time, one of the things I would suggest is counseling. Now, online, you don't have to go physically to get counseling. You can go online they have better help. I remember using that myself when I was doing my dissertation and I needed to motivation to finish it. And it was in my bedroom at 12 o'clock in the night. That counselor never saw my face. I never saw his, but he helped me. And so they will give you a discount. They will ask you a lot of questions just to make sure that they are pleasing you. It's always good to have a counselor that you can check in with whenever you need somebody. I hope those are helpful, Brother Tyrone. I wish I could give you more, but the time will not allow me.
Yeah, no, these were very helpful, and it's very encouraging to see most of these things have already been started and I've been exposed to. It's
Nice.
just many times you get really discouraged along the way, and you could be tempted to believe that you're not succeeding on the journey when
Yeah.
certain old things start to resurface.
Mhm.
So it's just good to check in and see how God's been leading all along.
And since you say that, there's one more thing. You know, in some churches, what they do is that they assign an elderly couple or a couple who has been married long ago to a younger couple. And that older couple is there for them at any time at all. They tell them, call us any time of the day or night so that we can help you to keep this marriage and to keep this family life together. Just having an accountability partner, somebody you trust. Choose somebody you trust, who trusts in God and who loves you and your wife, so that when there is a problem, they are going to talk to you about the best for both of you. And please never share your problems with anybody who doesn't love both you and your wife. Don't do it. Only who loves both of you, and always choose who it is. It must be somebody special who you know you can trust, but always having that person to encourage you. And second to that is a psychologist or a counselor. All right. Thank you so much, Brother Tyrone.
We have a couple of hands.
Okay, sorry, go ahead.
I'm going to take Pauline Ware since she hasn't spoken before.
Okay.
Okay, thank you very much. Maybe just two quick questions. One is that I'm quite sure you're aware that oftentimes our men are not very open to counseling. And I find that, you know, with women who go to counseling, it still proves to be very difficult to resolve some of the issues if we're still, as it were, flying on one wing, that, you know, the wife may have those tools in her toolkits that might have been shared by the counselor, but she still has a husband who is very closed, very traditional, doesn't think that counseling can resolve things. We can do it on our own.
Mm-hmm.
So that can be an issue in this regard. So how would we deal with things like that?
So you probably should ask him how he wants to do it. If a problem needs to be solved, and because he's a man and he's traditional, he doesn't feel like a counselor can help him. Just ask him then to let both of you come up with how you can solve the problem. And let him know that you're trusting him to work with you on this, because let him know that he's the leader of the house, he's the shepherd of this flock, and he has the right to lead his family. And if there is a problem that needs to be solved, then he needs to work with you. But don't tell him that he needs to work with you. Speak to him nicely. Say, honey, I am really concerned about this problem. And I know that you're a man of God and you communicate with our Heavenly Father. So could you let us work on this? Decide exactly how you want to work on it, and I am willing to cooperate with you. In the meantime, here is one of the things too. Sometimes wives are told that they have to duck so that God can deal with the man. All right. So you pray about it, you humble yourself, never let him feel less than about anything. You know, a man has an ego, and we have to respect and nurture that ego. So therefore, you let him, you have to find ways. And I think that if you talk to the Lord and if you talk to a good counselor, you can find a way to motivate him without him even know that you are motivating him to make a change. But there are ways, and one of the reason why I say this, that to pray about it, is that sometimes you will be clueless about something. But if you take that quiet time with God and talk to him, he will download into your brain some ways that you can do things that you would never think about yourself. So you know your husband and you know God. So work with the Lord on him and be nice. Be very nice to the man, okay? Even if you feel resentful, be nice to him. Do what he wants. Give him what he wants. Treat him the best and watch him make a change. Because when you treat him like the priest that he is supposed to be, even if he doesn't deserve it, God is going to get to talk to him. And now he's going to realize that he's responsible for helping you to be contented and to be okay.
Dr. Napier,
Yes.
I know this sounds good and flowery, but some of us are thinking, like somebody in the chat, why? Why one should have to tiptoe around the man? They feel like it's tiptoeing. They need a backbone, or they need to surrender to the Lord. How do you feel about that? Well, we know how you feel about that.
All of that,
How do you feel
hold
about
on,
the
all of that is true. All of that is true. But you know something? I remember when I was in college, my professor did something that I did not like. And I wrote him a stinging email. And he said one thing to me. He said, you know, you catch more flies with honey than with vinegar. It doesn't have to be fear. You don't need it to be fear. Look at it. We are not nice to God, but he continues treating us wonderfully. We don't deserve it, but we get it. Remember that people in general, all of us, we have adverse childhood experiences. Some of us need a lot of help, need fixing. Men need fixing. They come into a marriage and they did not prepare for it before. So now, if you want to accomplish your goal for this marriage to work and for both of you and your children to be happy, then you have to make some sacrifices. Just ask God to give you the strength to do what you have to do, like Jesus. I mean, Jesus was treated like garbage, but he never retaliated. It was not fear, okay? If you're in an abusive marriage, physically abusive, then you don't need to stay into that. That's not what I'm talking about. But If it is not physically abusive and your husband just have problems and need to make some changes, pray for him. You do your best and live the life that counts and talk so that God can deal with the man. And God knows how to deal with men. Okay.
Okay, we are past, way past our time, but I see something in the chat. Men often say women are a mystery, but men, we find you very mysterious. We are puzzled that you want that which you are unwilling to work at achieving, and we get very sad and discouraged about that. We give up when we get very tired.
That's very honest. I appreciate it. It is true. And sometimes I think one of the things men do not realize is that a woman will be nice for a long time. And then when she cannot take it anymore, that is usually the time when he's ready to fix it. And sometimes she just turn away and he can't get her back because he took too long. But what I am saying is I'm appealing to not just men and women. Remember how patient God is with us and ask him to give us the patience, especially if you can see in other areas that this person is doing what they're supposed to do. Remember, we all have strengths and we have weaknesses. We have to work on our weaknesses, but in the meantime, praise the man for his strengths. Okay? You and men need to also praise the women for their strengths as well. But once you have said your marriage vows and there is no physical abuse or even verbal abuse, you know, the terrible kinds, then you're responsible to stick it out and work on it. Work on it. Okay. And I know it's not something easy that I am saying because I am divorced. I was divorced in 2006. I went through the best part of a marriage and the worst part of a marriage. But you know something? I knew that God had put me in that marriage because Sister White says that at the time I think that it was 6 times a day she said we were supposed to pray if we're contemplating marriage. And I asked God and I prayed. I literally prayed 6 times per day and even more too. And in that marriage, when I realized that it wasn't going to work out, because my husband said, I know God gave me this marriage, but he has disappointed me, so I am not staying. I am going to leave. And he said, with all the 40-day prayer and fasting I was doing for my marriage, he said, I know what you're praying for, and I'm going to make sure it doesn't happen. So the devil took over this man completely. But at the same time, I realize now that he also had mental issues, right?
The
But
aces.
the aces, yes, they were serious aces because he told me about his life, you see. And one of the things that I made sure of, I said, if I look back, whenever I look back, he's dead now, but whenever I looked back, I should be able to say, I did my very best to let the marriage work and I have no regrets. And so I didn't just walk away. I went through whatever I had to go through. And to be very honest, it turned out to be very good for me because the Lord used it as a training and it was a blessing to my life. So therefore, I am saying to you, work with God, work with your husband, work with your wife, and don't just throw away the marriage. You see, no, as the lady said, one person cannot work. It takes 2 to work. So please, those of you who are here, be the ones who will cooperate in the marriage to make it work. Yes, I think the last one is Rhea. And
Yeah.
all right.
We're going to take Rhea, and that will be it for tonight.
Hello, thank you so much. You know, you have really helped even me. Even though I know this program is for the men, but I just want to ask about pertaining to if, a man is in a relationship and he's hearing this for the first time, should he pause the relationship and do the work first? Let's say they was about to get married in 2, 3 months or something, and he's hearing all of this, how would you counsel that person? Because me personally, if I'm hearing this, because let's say I didn't know about, in fact, as a matter of fact, I didn't understand that men go through a whole lot of things that the women go through, until I'm just learning this today and of lately listening to other programs. And I'm so thankful because it seems like the men are more silent on this as opposed to the ladies, that might try to seek help. And so I'm so thankful for you doing this work, this program today. I know this will help a whole lot of men, and not grown men only, but young men that have struggled with things, in their childhood. So thank you so much for this. And so I just wanted to find out what's your thought on that? And also to, I've been hearing about narcissism and stuff like that. And so, my thoughts were, well, is it because of the traumas that, men and even women have gone through that cause them to have those type of traits, and then they bring that into the marriage, and then it's just so difficult, and because they never did the work or never even realized that they have those type of traits, and they don't realize that they're traumatizing even their partner. So how do you deal with that?
I don't think no one should really go into a marriage until they have worked on themselves. Self-knowledge is important because the thing is, whatever you learn growing up, you live it again. You repeat your history. It decides how you run your family. And so the reality is that one of the things we usually teach married couple to do is people who are going to get married to do is to understand your family life and how it influences you from both ends. And then you now should create your own meanings for yourself, for your home. So for example, the way that your parents argued with each other, you might have learned to fight that same way. But you shouldn't bring over what you learn from parents. You should decide together how you want to govern your marriage, how you want to deal with problems in your marriage, and not just come with what is natural to you. Both of you are supposed to agree on how you're going to fight. Fighting will happen. But if you watch, like, for example, you remember War Room, and the lady was concerned about how couples do not know how to fight. If you have to learn that, okay, my mother and father had a physical fight. My mother and father had big arguments, shouting, and so on. But we are deciding that when we have a problem, if we are too heated, we're going to be quiet and calm down. We're going to set a time when we will sit and we will talk about it. And if while we're talking about it, we get heated, we're going to take a little time out because we do not want to say anything that we're going to have to say we're sorry about or forgiveness. It's a matter of being conscious. So before you get married, counseling is important. Pre-engagement counseling is important. Self-knowledge, individual counseling is important so you can understand yourself and understand what you're bringing to the marriage, because you want it to work. You want a marriage to work. So therefore, you want to make sure that you are going to be a partner that will do every single thing to make sure that the marriage works, because no marriage just happen to work by itself. It is the individuals. So yes, if a man doesn't know himself or a woman doesn't know herself, I would say seek some self-knowledge first, get proper individual counseling, and when together you get pre-engagement counseling, and then you get premarital counseling. And while you are married, still get your counseling so that you can keep, like how our spiritual life, we're supposed to keep strong by staying connected to God. It is the same way that in your marriage, you're supposed to have a counselor that you can call on anytime to deal with things that you probably may find challenging by yourself. I hope that is helpful. Can't give everything because the time, but yeah.
Okay, now, can anybody call you? How do we contact you in case anybody needs that kind of counseling that you're talking about? Or
Okay.
do you offer that type of counseling?
All right, 516.
Listen up, everybody. Your pencil and paper should be working right now.
I am on WhatsApp, 516-325-0185.
Okay.
And
Everybody got
also,
that? 516-325-0185.
325-0185, yes. And
Okay.
also, I do have a book on Amazon that is a self-help book, that it is called Healing from Broken Relationships Workbook. And you can see my name, Antoinette Napier. I wrote that while I was still doing my master's. And it is a book that you can go through, go online and do the assessments. And it really guides you. If you have it and there's anything in it that you don't understand, feel free to contact me and I will help you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much again, Dr. Napier, for coming and sharing what you have shared. I know we have learned a lot, and I just heard one lady say it has helped her a lot. It has helped me to get a better perspective because some of the things in the chat, I had the same perspective, but I will not voice them.
I like when people are honest. It is the truth they're talking.
Yes, but it's good to, we tend to go through a lot in our relationships, but I realize that a lot of it is because we just don't understand,
And we have to find ways. Do you know, I have a niece who she and her husband, whenever they're having a serious problem that they cannot deal with, like she will go to a hotel for a while, or she will just, like they separate themselves and then they come back together. You have to find ways to preserve the marriage. Anything you do, it must be in aid of preserving the marriage. We are humans, we get heated and all of that, but by the grace of God, we can find ways to cope.
Amen. And I was really blessed by this presentation, to say the least. We are going to pray, but before we do, I just want to encourage everybody to sign up for the retreat. It promises to be very good. I hope you are there, Dr. Napier, so that we can pull you aside sometime and talk to you as well. And I hope they offer some of those sessions in the retreat as well. So let us just pray. Father in heaven, we thank you for this very illuminating presentation. We thank you for all the participants who saw it fit to come. We pray for our men this evening. We pray that we will leave here purposed in our heart to take those things that we have learned and put them into practice. Bless our speaker as she goes on her way. Help her to continue to be a blessing to you and everyone.